Power and forms of government. Our topic is power and forms of government. We are going to be looking at the various types of government that we see in the world today. So first, let's take a look at power. Power is the ability to make others do what you want them to do. The ability to make others do what you want them to do. So every day of your life, you move to the system of power that every other person may. Do you understand the systems of power? Do you understand why it matters and why we often uncomfortably talk about power? In civic life, how we live together in the community, power is involved. Now, in democracy or in democratic world, power is supposed to reside with the people. So learning how power operates is key to being effective, to being taken seriously, and not being taken advantage. So in this lesson, we are looking at where power comes from, how it can be exercised, and what you can do to become more powerful in the public. Recapping, power is the ability to make others do what you want them to do. It plays out in offices, in our homes, and in other areas of our life. Talking about power, power could be found in the physical and mental areas of our life. Physical and mental areas of our life. So when we talk about power, we look at the social power, we look at the political. So social power is a form of power that is found in the society and within politics. Physical power is often used during confrontation. Yes, it's used during confrontation, physical power. But social power could often be found in laws, in wealth, and in other areas of our lives. Moving on, forms of government. Remember, countries can have a few of these forms of government going on at the same time. The form of government a country has depends on who holds power, how they operate, and how they organize. Let's use the Great Britain to demonstrate our first type, which is the monarchy. You might be somewhat familiar with monarchies. This is a rule by a king or a queen. Absolute monarchy is a very popular form of government during the Middle Ages. Absolute monarchy, in which the king or the queen have all the powers to pass laws, to collect taxes, and fight wars. You have King Louis of France or King Henry VIII of Great Britain. But as the Enlightenment era swept across Europe, monarchs were often forced to share their absolute powers in making laws. So this led to what we know as constitutional monarch. Constitutional monarch. In a constitutional monarch, there's still a king or a queen, but the role is ceremonial, such as we see here with Queen Elizabeth II. It doesn't have any power, maybe some influence. Now, most of the monarchies today are ceremonial, but there are still absolute monarchies left, such as Saudi Arabia. King Salman of Saudi Arabia, seen here with the Secretary of Defense. In monarchies, powers is hereditary from father to the son, but again, there are no much absolute monarchies left. The next form of power is democracy. Democracy. It fondly means rule by the people. Democracy means rule by the people. In democratic societies, the vote, the first known democracy, the first form of democracy have been since 2000 years ago in Athens. So we have what we call direct democracy. In direct democracy, all the citizens make the decisions and laws for the society. Democracy started in ancient Athens, in Greece. Although there are no countries using direct form of democracy today. We have representative democracy where the people have to vote for laws and policy. In Nigeria, we practice representative democracy or republic where the people choose leaders to create policies because we don't have all the time to debate on laws. So we elect representatives to debate for us. So we vote for those individuals to represent us in lawmaking. Often there's a form of direct democracy which exists inside our representative democracy, and it is known as referendum. A referendum is when a state or town will ask the people to vote on whether a law should pass or not. Such an example we see here in Arkansas, where voters had to decide whether or not to begin a state lottery. So most often too, there is this initiative. Okay, the people have to initiate whether a law have to go or not. So in Nigeria, we have representative democracy, okay, where we have our leaders who represent us at the federal, the state, and the local government level. Okay, then we have all the houses of assembly, the House of Senate, and House of Representatives. Socialism is another form of government brought about by the Industrial Revolution. Some people felt that the government wasn't doing enough for the poor working class, so a new form of government had to rise. Socialism is a bit complex as it can be a form of government, ideology, or culture. Now, we can look at socialism without looking at the economic system of capitalism, where buying and selling determines the direction of the economy. And also, the term socialism have come to mean many different things to different people, countries, and governments. So let's keep it basic. Originally, the idea is that means of production is being shared. That's the idea. Socialism have developed into the idea that government should develop the economy. In order to reduce inequality in the society, it's often encouraged that government should share the wealth of the country equally among its citizens. When we talk about socialism, very often it means welfare program, things like free healthcare and education. Free healthcare is an example of a socialist program. Some extreme example of socialism is China, which has many businesses and a lot of control over the country. Socialism is associated with Scandinavian countries such as Finland, Denmark, Sweden, which provides an health care for its citizens. They provide health care for its citizens. Sometimes in the United States, the Republican might throw up some socialist programs such as Obamacare, or politicians providing free college education for all its citizens. So as you can see, socialism means a lot of different things, but as you can see, it's about welfare program. Communism is another form of government that takes socialism to another extreme level. Communism is popularized by a German philosopher known as Karl Marx. It was first tried out by Russians after the First World War in 1917 in the Soviet Union. And the idea is that workers will stand up to take over the means of production, such as factories and farms, such as companies and farms. And it can be seen in the symbol of hammer and sickle in farms. And communism never developed according to Karl Marx's ideology. Rather than help in the revolution of the workers, these governments became dictators. They got into dictatorship. The former president of the Soviet Union and that of China, through the process of forcing communism on their people, killed millions of their citizens. They seized a lot of private properties, took over controls of companies and farms. So further on, let's go over the Cold War between the Communist Union of Russia and the Democratic Union of America. The two world superpower that kept the world panicked, wanting to destroy the world with nuclear weapons. So there are lots of reasons why communism never worked. One is that without the people and the private property and the people's incentive to work, communism seems to die off. So the effects of communism extremists, it's very devastating. Here we saw the collapse of the Berlin Wall, We've seen ideas of communism in countries such as China, Cuba, North Korea, Vietnam, but some of these countries are beginning to allow the system of capitalism. So they've started allowing people to own their own private companies. It's too soon to say what will happen to Cuba as they have opened their doors to the United States. To start up businesses. The next form of government is the oligarchy. This form of government power is held by a small wealthy group. Oligarchy includes the royal families, the rich elites who are political parties. Sometimes people wonder if the United States have the oligarchical tendencies. Even in Nigeria, where some rich elites have more power than the common people. People accuse China of some form of oligarchy where 87 million members control almost 1.2 billion people. Again, you need to know that oligarchy is the rule of a few rich and wealthy people in the society. The other form of government you need to know is autocracy. This means a rule by one. When you think of autocracy, you think of dictatorship such as Cuba, now deceased Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, South Korea, and Syria. Which system of government shares power between a central and regional government? Okay, so it's the federal system. Now we have another one. Which system of government does the central government hold all the power and delegate to local levels? That's the unitary system of government. Okay, then we have which system of government do the local states hold all the power with a weak central government? That's the confederate system of government. Which system of government choose the executive from the legislative branch? They choose the executive from their legislative branch. That's the parliamentary system of government. And then which form of government do the people hold the power? Which form of government do the people hold the power? Okay. Now we have the democracy, which most countries of the world are practicing. Now, which form of government is ruled by a king or a queen? Okay, that's a monarchical system of government. Which form of government does the government take over certain businesses to protect the people? They take over businesses to protect the people. That's socialism. Then which form of government is one person in charge? Which form of government is one person in charge? Autocracy. Yes, autocracy. Then which form of government allows the people to vote on all of the issues? That is direct democracy. Which form of government said the working people should control the means of production? Which form of government allows the working people? That's communism. Then which form of government is power held by a wealthy few? The wealthy few, the rich. That is oligarchy. Thanks for watching this video, and please ensure to complete your assignment and upload properly. Be good.